Hello and welcome to Courts Today by Live Law. Let us get to today's top legal updates. The Calcutta High Court has issued contempt rule against TMC leader and 7 others for allegedly heckling lawyers on High Court premises. The Punjab and Haryana High Court has rejected a PIL seeking martyr status for the Pahalgam terror attack victims. The Supreme Court has mandated a minimum practice of 3 years as advocate to enter judicial service. The Tamil Nadu government has approached the top court against Madras High Court's rejection of its challenge to ED searches of TASMAC headquarters. BJP leader Rajiv Chandrasekhar has moved the Delhi High Court challenging dismissal of criminal defamation case against Shashi Tharoor, and a notice has been issued in the matter. In the Delhi Riots UAPA case, Safora Zargar has told the court that protest is not an unlawful act and embarrassing government is not a terror offence. I am Urvashi Chauhan with your daily roundup of legal updates from across the country. For a detailed reading, you can always visit www.livelaw.in. Please make sure to watch this video till the end, and if you find it useful, make sure to like, share and subscribe to our channel. In a significant development related to the recruitment scam in West Bengal, a 3-judge bench of the Calcutta High Court has issued contempt rules against 8 individuals including Trinamool Congress leader Kunal Ghosh. The action comes after an incident of alleged heckling of lawyers outside a courtroom, which led to chaos within the High Court premises during working hours. The bench, comprising Justices Arijit Banerjee, Sabyasachi Bhattacharya and Rajarshi Bhardwaj, took up the matter suo motu after the Chief Justice constituted a special bench to examine the commotion. During the earlier hearings, the court had directed the Kolkata Police Commissioner to submit CCTV footage of the court corridors to ascertain the actual facts. On 2nd May this year, the court observed that there was a prima facie evidence of criminal contempt committed by the individuals involved. Notices were issued to the alleged contemners, granting them 2 weeks to file their replies. However, at today's hearing, the court noted that none of them had filed affidavit in their defense despite being represented by advocates. In light of these uncontroverted allegations, the High Court has now formally issued contempt rules against all the 8 individuals. The matter is scheduled to be heard next on 16th June now. Stay tuned. Next, the Punjab and Haryana High Court today rejected a public interest litigation seeking to declare the 26 tourists killed in the recent Pahalgam terrorist attack as martyrs. A division bench comprising Chief Justice Sheel Nagu and Justice Sumit Goyal held that such a declaration falls within the domain of policy making, which is the prerogative of the executive. During the hearing, the bench questioned whether such a prayer could be granted under the Article 226 of the Constitution. Chief Justice Nagu remarked that declaring someone a martyr is an administrative decision and not within the scope of judicial intervention. The petitioner had argued that the tourists were innocently targeted in a religiously motivated attack and died with the courage of a soldier deserving recognition. However, Additional Solicitor General Satyapal Jain, representing the union, opposed the petition, stating that the government was already taking appropriate steps and that raising such demands during tense times, possibly on the brink of war, was inappropriate. The court ultimately asked the petitioner to make a representation before the appropriate authority within 30 days, which would be duly considered. Let me tell you, the PIL also included a plea to declare Pahalgam as a memorable martyrs or Shaheed Hindu Valley tourist place, which the court declined to entertain. And now coming to the most important update from today. In a significant judgment affecting judicial service aspirants across the country, the Supreme Court has restored the condition that only advocates with a minimum of 3 years of practice are eligible to apply for entry-level posts in the judiciary. The ruling, delivered today by a bench comprising Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai, Justice A.G. Masi and Justice K. Vinod Chandran, marks a return to the earlier requirement that had been done away in the year 2002. The court clarified that the 3-year practice period can be counted from the date of provisional enrollment as an advocate. However, this condition will not apply to recruitment processes that have already been notified by high courts prior to this judgment. For future recruitments, a certificate from an advocate with at least 10 years of standing, endorsed by a judicial officer or designated court officer, will serve as proof of experience. Notably, the court also said that experience as a law clerk can count towards fulfilling the practice requirement. The judgment came in response to widespread concerns that allowing fresh law graduates to directly enter the judiciary without any court experience had led to ineffective administration of justice. The court termed the practice unsuccessful and problematic over the past 2 decades. It observed that judges deal with matters of life, liberty, and property from day one, and in such a scenario, theoretical knowledge acquired through law books or pre service training is insufficient to meet the complex demands of the role. The bench agreed with the majority of the high courts and states that supported reinstatement of the practice condition, describing the earlier policy of direct recruitment of fresh graduates as not a successful experience. The case was heard in connection with the All India Judges Association, and the court had previously reserved judgment on 28th January this year. The bench also issued related directions regarding the limited departmental competitive exam, that is LDCE promotion quota. While most high courts welcomed the restored requirement, let me tell you, Sikkim and Chhattisgarh were the only states opposing it. This ruling now overturns the 2002 decision in the same All India Judges Association case, where the Supreme Court had accepted the Shetty Commission's recommendations to drop the practice requirement, hoping to attract younger talent. However, the court now holds that practical experience is essential for judicial competence and fairness in dispensing justice. For more details on this crucial ruling, you can always visit our website at www.livelaw.in. The state of Tamil Nadu has approached the Supreme Court challenging the Madras High Court's decision refusing to stay Enforcement Directorate raids on the Tamil Nadu State Marketing Corporation, or the TASMAC headquarters. The case concerns an alleged 1,000 crore liquor scam in which distillery companies are said to have siphoned off large amounts of unaccounted cash to secure favorable supply orders through the corporation, a state-run liquor marketing body. The corporation officials were accused of corruption, and several of its shops were alleged to be overcharging customers above the MRP. The ED initiated its investigation based on 41 FIRs filed by Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption regarding irregularities in corporations' operations. The Madras High Court, however, dismissed Tamil Nadu's plea against the searches, holding that the ED was acting within its authority and that temporary detention of employees during raids was part of due procedure. Allegations of harassment were considered an afterthought by the court. Despite an earlier failed attempt to transfer their plea from Madras High Court to Supreme Court, Tamil Nadu has now directly challenged the High Court's decision. Meanwhile, ED has continued its probe, recently conducting fresh raids, including at the residence of corporation's managing director S. Visakan, and questioning him for nearly 10 hours. Corporation had earlier argued that ED's actions were politically motivated and based on mere suspicion, not backed by adequate material or statutory grounds under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. ED countered that the case was triggered by complaints from Tamil Nadu's own police and pointed out that even suspicion is a valid basis for conducting searches under the law. Moving ahead, the Delhi High Court today issued notice on a plea filed by BJP leader and former Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar, challenging a trial court's order dismissing his defamation complaint against Congress MP Shashi Tharoor. Justice Ravinder Dudeja noted that the matter required consideration and has sought Tharoor's response by September 16th, also directing the trial court records to be submitted digitally. Chandrasekhar had approached the High Court after the trial court in its February 4th order declined to summon Tharoor, ruling that no prima facie case of defamation was made out. The case pertains to statements allegedly made by Tharoor on Malayalam channel 24 News accusing Chandrasekhar of bribing voters in Thiruvananthapuram, a claim Chandrasekhar has called false and damaging to his reputation. Apart from the criminal complaint, Chandrasekhar has also filed a civil defamation suit in the High Court seeking damages and a permanent injunction against Tharoor. He contends that the televised remarks widely circulated on media and social media platforms harmed his public image and played a role in his defeat in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. And lastly, let me tell you, activist Safura Zargar, an accused of the 2020 Delhi riots larger conspiracy case, today urged a Delhi court to discharge her from the UAPA case, arguing that political protest is not terrorism. Represented by advocate Shahrukh Alam, Zargar submitted before the Karkarduma court that merely embarrassing the government cannot be considered a terror offense. She said that in a democracy, citizens don't embarrass the government, they hope not to be embarrassed by it. Zargar's counsel emphasized that protesting against the Citizenship Amendment Act cannot be equated with unlawful activity unless there is clear evidence of an intent to cause violence or destruction. She challenged the prosecution's allegations of a conspiracy to destabilize the state, asserting that no motive has been shown for the acts like firebombing or acid attacks allegedly used during the protests. The court was also told that the threshold of evidence must prove that Zargar's motive was not dissent but destruction, which the prosecution has failed to establish. This hearing in the case will continue tomorrow. Stay tuned with Live Law.